Welcome one and all to another episode of The Damage with me, Iadarola, and joining us on this Monday, Francesca. Wait, what? It's not Francesca. Jayar Jackson. How's it going, Jayar?
What's going on? We got to keep you guys on your toes. I think we're renaming this the Jayar J-tastic Monday, something like that. We got to work on it. It hasn't worked for us yet.
Oh.
Slim News Monday.
No. We have interesting news, and not just about people. Any news show can do news about people. We've got news about people and robots and animals. Some of those animals, by the way, might just be people. So it all comes full circle. But anyway, some of those people also animals, as we'll get to in just a little bit. But very glad to have you all here for this chaotic Monday. Thank you to Jayar for filling in. It's always a pleasure to have you on, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. It's good times. I can't help it, John.
Oh, people are saying it's big news Monday.
Huh?
I like that. Anyway, some people might not be aware of the new iteration of the watch list, by the way, but I am hearing that it is taking off. You want to let people know where they can watch the videos you put out every day?
You can catch watch list still. We got these video clips going up, you guys. You got YouTube, you got Facebook, you got Snapchat, which also will be adding soon some more back detail things as I just kind of float through life and let you guys know as I yell at Prius drivers, including also Tesla drivers. I've discovered that they're one and the same. You know, I study traffic patterns, I study bad drivers. I will be giving reports upcoming.
Yeah, if you want to study bad drivers, you have come to the right city. Because my God, I am convinced that most people on the highway are actively trying to kill themselves or the people around them.
There's specific cars that are bad drivers. I have my list. I have a friend that says Astro vans. Anybody in one of those is the worst. Everyone I think has one. We need to compile a list. What is the worst kind of driver? What car do you see driving the worst with that car? I'm curious what people's lists are.
You know what I've noticed? You know how like when you get a new pair of shoes and it's pristine, you're super careful, but then like you get the first smudge and then you're like, whatever, I'll just do whatever I want at this point. I feel like it's that way with cars too. The first time a reckless driver bangs into someone and dents it up, they just like feel freed up. Oh, now I don't have to worry. I can just ping pong, go-kart off of everyone. But anyway, okay, everybody, we do have a lot to talk about. What I do want to just offer as a caveat before we launch into this week of news is, and some of you might already suspect this from looking at what used to be my face, I'm exhausted. Just always, for no reason. There's literally no good reason that I'm exhausted, except that of course in 3 weeks B-Day happens. So generally, and that's not a birthday. So generally, the way that time works is there's causes and effects, and the way the cause is supposed to work is the baby is born and then you're exhausted. For some reason, I've decided to just skip to that part. So I'm just exhausted in advance of the baby. So everybody prepare for that as we go forward into this news. And yeah, you can send us comments, you can send us tweets, super chats, all that, and Jayar and I will respond. But with all that said, Jayar, want to get this thing started?
I think so. It's gonna be fun.
Let's do it. Let's jump directly into this.
Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me. I consider it actually a great badge of honor. I do. It's a great badge of honor because I'm being indicted for you.
But are you though? There was a lot of people in that crowd, at least hundreds, I guess. His attendance isn't what it was in past elections, but there was at least hundreds of people. And I did not poll every one of them, but I don't think most of them tried to delete the surveillance tapes at Mar-a-Lago. I don't think most of them have ever possessed a classified document. I don't think most of them did hush money payments. I don't think most of them assaulted E. Jean Carroll. I don't think most of them did any of these things. I feel like that's kind of a you thing, Trump. But what I cannot deny is that he sees being indicted as a badge of honor. I can point out that it's weird that every time he gets one of these badges of honor, or perhaps dozens in one time, he immediately goes to a social media website to whine about it. I don't generally whine about something that's a badge of honor, but let's test it, okay? We're gonna run a little test this week because apparently more indictments are coming. And yes, it is Groundhog's Day. I feel like I say that every day, but it's true every day because Fani Willis, the DA of Fulton County, told Atlanta TV station 11 Alive, the work is accomplished. We've been working for 2.5 years. We're ready to go. And allegedly, Willis is gonna be seeking an indictment before August 18th by a grand jury impaneled this month in Atlanta. A letter was sent to the chief judge of the Fulton County Courthouse earlier this year, signaling that you should not schedule anything August 7th or 14th. And by you, obviously that means the judge, but also maybe you just wanna watch this thing because they're apparently coming. Also, earlier today, a judge rejected an attempt by Donald Trump's legal team, or whatever passes for a legal team for him, to block Fani Willis from indicting him. Again, he loves the indictments, Jayar. They're a badge of honor. And yet he was doing everything he could behind the scenes to stop getting more of these great honors.
It's the first thing I thought, John. Very first thing. I was like, so we have badges of honor. Badge of honor, I do it for you. I take these as a badge of honor. How many, I assume badges of honor, different than Medal of Honor. Maybe this is about returning soldiers coming home from war and they're given this badge of honor. I actually, we talked before how we love the origins of words and phrases. I do wonder, where does the badge of honor phrase come from? It's probably something nefarious. It's probably some other country that we hate. But anyways, if you're returning and you get your badge of honor, afterwards, like, do you start rejecting these badges? Oh my God, the president's trying to give me a badge of honor. No, I don't want it. No, let me get my legal team on this so I can reject this badge of honor that I'm getting after returning heroically from conflict. No, it's not badges of honor. You're afraid of what might happen. You're trying to run for president again simply so you can skirt these things. Part of what he's been saying is that, they keep attacking me. They shouldn't be allowed to do this while I'm running for president. This whole game is out there. I'm not sure why people think this guy thinks past one step. Everything he says is an obvious admission of why he's doing it. And it's always based on some kind of nefarious approach, some self-serving thing, or just trying to skirt these indictments and these potential crimes that they're charging him with. So the badge of honor thing is dead on arrival. Keep it real.
Yeah, and it's weird that we would honor someone so many times who is such a horrendous person, just a vicious liar and a weirdo to boot. Actually, I want to demonstrate all of those things in one video clip. Take a look at this.
Now, this deranged lunatic named Jack Smith, who's been overturned unanimously by the Supreme Court. He's tried to destroy many lives. You ever see the picture of the guy? It's like central casting. Deranged Jack Smith and the DOJ will probably bring another case along with the DA. We have a racist DA in crime-ridden Atlanta. I loved Atlanta. I like Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia. But it's the worst per capita crime city in the hall.
No, it's not. It's the 27th in overall crime, like 20th in murder, 45th in rape. Well, why am I doing fact checks? What is the point of doing a fact check? He didn't believe it when he said it. Nobody cared in the audience. But let's focus on the other parts of that. So, Jayar, Fani Willis, obviously a racist. Now, some people watching might be like, wait, why is she a racist? I did look into that. I did some research, and it turns out that she's a black woman. And that's it. That's the whole, and he's white, so that's that. But what I love, Jared, my favorite part of that was Jack Smith, this deranged lunatic ruining lives, being overturned by the Supreme Court. But my God, did you see that guy's face? It is just central casting. That's like most people won't get what he means by that because it's such a weirdo thing that he always says. It's just a compliment when he uses it. It means you look like a person who'd be on a TV show. So I love that, like, he hates this guy who's giving him badges of honor. He hates him, but like, you can't take issue with the guy's face. He's well put together. He's an attractive man.
Or he fits the role somehow. He's the bad guy. It's another illustration how Donald Trump thinks. If you look a certain way, then you are that. That's what he sees. That's why he looks at minorities a certain way. That's why he looks at migrants a certain way, specific migrants a certain way, because they fit the role. Hey, the Central Park Five that obviously didn't do the crime that he continued to say that they did, but they're black, John. They fit the role. I live in a movie role. That's what I think life is. That's his approach to his entire existence, and he doesn't realize that everyone doesn't live in that reality.
Yeah, he's kind of like, he's the dude from the Willy Wonka movie, the dude whose last name I think is literally TV, where he just like watched too many shows growing up and it wrecked his brain. That's definitely Donald Trump. You're 100% right. So anyway, he tried to stop this coming in indictment from Fani Willis. That's apparently gonna be coming. We're gonna be testing, was it in fact a perfect phone call? We're gonna find out together in just the next couple of weeks. It's so weird that he's freaking out about it, considering what a great honor it is. It took a little bit for Donald Trump to really respond to the new bombshell in the classified documents case. That, of course, being that apparently he was the head of a multi-person effort to destroy evidence to stop the FBI from realizing what might have happened with those documents at Mar-a-Lago. But over the weekend, he said a few things. He started to get talkative. He typed this, if you're on the podcast, this is in all caps. Mar-a-Lago security tapes were not deleted. They were voluntarily handed over to the thugs, headed up by deranged Jack Smith, a very, very handsome man. We did not even go to court. I added part of that. You can guess which part. We did not even go to court to stop them from getting these tapes. I never told anybody to delete them. Prosecutorial fiction and misconduct, election interference. So a lot of that is ridiculous. Let's note that for the first time, he is actually denying that he told them to delete them. So that is actually something, and that something is a lie. But I love the beginning of it. It's Mar-a-Lago security tapes were not deleted. No, we know. Well, we suspect anyway. You're not being charged with having actually deleted them. It's a plot to delete them. I love it. Like he could start with what would seem to be the strongest response, which is, I didn't tell anyone to delete them. Which, look, in reality, what does that mean? He probably the exact same thing as when he was telling the people about moving the docs. Like, if something were to happen, that wouldn't be the worst. Yes, he did not say the words, go delete them, I'm sure. But to start off with, they were not deleted when no one is claiming that they were deleted, is such a weird mealy-mouthed evasion. And if you're just gonna deny like doing the plot anyway, why waste time with that? But of course he does. And before you jump in, Jayar, I just wanna get to one part of another message. He says it's the same as Russia. They knowingly accuse you with a fake crime. You cannot deny that you stole the documents. You literally had them in your toilet, but you fight these false charges hard and they try and get you on obstruction. Trying to delete the evidence, trying to do that is not fighting the charges hard. I know that, like, from the point of view of his base, everything he does against the people who are persecuting him, who are of course Satanists who eat baby faces, is perfectly fine. So it could be cast as whatever he wants. But the idea that like deleting tapes is fighting it hard. So like if Biden shuts down an investigation of Hunter Biden, he's just fighting the charges hard, right? Okay, and now you're gonna say that he's doing obstruction, which I guess is fake and made up. None of this, again, makes any sense, but it doesn't have to. Jayar, what do you think?
It's another one of those instances with obstruction, to slap it in quotes. What for? Is it obstruction or is it not obstruction? Are they trying to charge you with obstruction? Are they trying to get you on obstruction? Is obstruction a word that you just learned and you're like, it's this word I learned, it's called obstruction? Why is the reason for just say the word? That's what they be coming after you for, right? And by the way, then they try to get you on obstruction. Does this sound like an innocent person? I want you guys to put this in other terms that maybe people who support Donald Trump maybe can understand. Imagine a black person who's up and has multiple indictments and crimes and alleged crimes against them. And then they find themselves in many of those places. Maybe it was a murder scene and the car that was where the shooter took off from included someone else in the back seat. And maybe he's an accessory to it because he wasn't actually pulling the trigger. And then he goes, look, now they're trying to get me because I'm fighting against these charges. Now they're trying to get me on accessory just because I was in the car. Bro, that's normal. That's straightforward. This is nothing new to get you on obstruction when you're allegedly obstructed an investigation probably 72 to 73 times. And we continue to see it and people continue to say they saw you say this and heard you do this. And then the security camera shows that. And then the fourth time that you tell them what you gave them when you didn't give, they're trying to get you on obstruction or they keep seeing evidence of obstruction. It's one of those two things. I wonder which one it could be.
There, you are asking for sense out of this person, a person who sent these messages. They're now admitting the tapes were not deleted. What are you talking about? The first we heard of anything having to do with the tapes was this superseding indictment where they said that you tried to delete them. They don't claim that they were deleted. It's like he's taking this one horrendous update for him and then like making up previous things so that it's actually good. It's interesting spin, and he's doing it all on his own. But then he goes on to say they shouldn't be allowed to investigate me during and in the middle of. That's the same thing. It's during. What are you talking about? My campaign for president. Why didn't they file these ridiculous charges 2.5 years ago? Because you kept criming. The destruction plot was a year ago. How would they have? Now, if they had charged you with it 2.5 years ago, that would be suspicious. I would not be down for that. If they charged you with a year in the future trying to delete the tapes, then I would not be down for that. But what a ridiculous, like, it's like a person is standing over the body of the person they just knifed to death and then say, why didn't you have a problem with this a decade ago? Like, because you're doing crimes now, you psychopath. But anyway, there's a reason that Donald Trump thinks that he can just sort of poo-poo these new charges. It's because everybody on his side doesn't have a problem with what he did. Not just Trump is apologizing for the plot to destroy this evidence. Look at his lawyer, still technically a lawyer and spokesperson, Alina Habba.
You rightly say that the tapes were turned over. I mean, they're in custody of the Justice Department, but the question is, was there an attempt to try to make sure that didn't happen?
Well, let's be clear. If there was an attempt by somebody who lives in a home, take out President Trump, who owns a company, he owns it, he owns the IT, he pays for all these employees. If there was an attempt for him to not turn over documents or he wanted something deleted, do you not think that that's something he couldn't have gotten done? Let's just use common sense.
Does it sound like
the American public forgets to use common sense?
I mean, that's the allegation, is that he did try to talk to these employees and that these employees said, we may have to talk to someone else. I don't know that I can even do that.
Shannon, I know the facts, and the facts are when President Trump gets a subpoena, it goes to the organization turns it over. That is what actually happened.
Alina Habba is a clever one. That would have gotten me, but she messed up because a couple of weeks ago, Netflix put the entire run of Suits up there. So I know all sorts of legal stuff right now. So I can tell that she was being evasive. She was asked a specific question. Was there an attempt to delete them? Did he ask to have it deleted? And she said, let's be clear. And that's always a sign that the person is not going to be clear. And then she spins a hypothetical. If there had been an attempt, don't you think it would have succeeded? She's not even claiming that it wasn't done there. Trump was willing to lie and claim that. She's not even denying that it happened. She's just saying, if they had been trying to do this, don't you think that it would have worked? Well, how does that, like, do you understand that attempted crimes are crimes? Like, if I had attempted to murder this person, look at this bod, don't you think I could have gotten it done? I'm asking if you tried, okay? Which is a crime. It is definitely obstruction. It is definitely an attempt to obstruct. And so it's just so suspicious there that she doesn't even respond to the question. And she's a spokesperson. Like, this is her job, is to evade, to try to distract from what's really being asked.
These are the times when you go ahead and answer that question. So if you get asked by Alina Habba, so do you think it's possible that if he wanted to, that he wouldn't have done it? I'll answer honestly. No, I don't think so, because he's a bumbling idiot. He tries to do a lot of things. Sometimes he's successful when someone helps him, and other times he's not. He tried though. Next, would you like to now answer the question? Since I answered yours of, do I think it's possible? Yes, I think it's possible that Donald Trump would fail at something, because he's proven that to us over and over again.
By the way, she's not the only person like who doesn't seem to have a problem with this. She's not even as supportive as some. Take a look at Greg Gutfeld.
And then what are they about, surveillance cameras? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with, like, are those yours? Yeah. Why can't you clear them? I don't understand that. They're not like other people's emails that you then, disappear. But I'll leave that for another time, because I'm not a lawyer. I'm more like a game show host. Mm-hmm.
Is that supposed to be a joke at the end? I really don't understand what conservatives think is funny. He's not a lawyer. He doesn't even apparently watch Suits. So let me respond to that. First of all, yeah, it looks really bad. I mean, just on its face. But something being yours doesn't mean that just anything goes. Like, Why? Wait, you have a problem with me bleaching my floor when you were gonna come investigate to see if there was blood there? It's my floor, I can bleach it. Oh, you have a problem with me taking the knife and throwing it in the ocean? It was my knife. Does he not get how investigations work? Does he not get how the police work? This is a guy who would claim to be super supportive of law enforcement, but now apparently anything you want to do to obstruct the work of cops, detectives, the FBI, anything like that goes, because it's your property. You do with it what you want, Jayar.
It's outrageous. It's amazing how you'll talk two-tier justice system, but this is how we end up with these types of situations where there is actually a two-tier justice system where the rich, powerful, connected actually get away with things. It's just they're openly talking about how that could happen. Do you really think that he would do something like this? He's rich, he's powerful, and he's got people around him. That's the definition of how someone would try to get away with something like this. But they make that seem like an outrageous scenario so that when we see it, which we would potentially, we'll see all this evidence come out and hear, and they'll say, so we told you this all could happen, but do you really think it could happen? Who cares what we think? What are we seeing in front of us? The ball keeps moving, the waters keep getting muddied, and they make sure that all their supporters don't really know what's been accused, what's been charged, what the indictments are about, or what the evidence is. They just change and say, now look what they're saying. Who said that? You said someone said that because you have the attention and mind of all these people to follow everything you say as the reality instead of paying attention to that nefarious Jack Smith. Look at his face. These are character attacks, so that anything he does that's valid, you'll see as cartoonish and they're just throwing crap at the wall to see what sticks. And ironically, that's exactly what they're doing.
100%. And if you want to clean the crap off the walls, it's your walls, it's your crap. You do whatever you want. It doesn't matter if they needed to check the fecal thing for some DNA. Anyway, like, just watch Law and Order. Come on, Gutfeld, like catch up with the rest of us. Anyway, with that said, we do need to take our first break. But when we come back, we're gonna be touching base with the MAGA base and what they really think about the libs and what should be done about them after this. Chipmunk PDX, by the way, says TDR should have a word of the day to honor the Pee Wee show. I forgot about the word of the day. I don't remember exactly how it works, or else I would, but we'll look into it.
If someone says it, everyone has to lose their minds and scream, right?
Yes, you are supposed to lose your mind and scream, which does sometimes happen. Basically, anytime we play Alex Jones, I lose my mind and scream like him. So,
which, by the way, I'm sorry. Last piece of information here. Andy Cohen from Watch What Happens Live has already stolen that idea because my wife watches it pretty consistently, and I do see they have a word of the day, and every time someone says it, then you're supposed to drink at home and stuff. So it's a hybrid of Pee Wee.
Okay.
Pee Wee's Playhouse, still an icon amongst American culture.
Yes. Still affecting things, yeah, 100%. Okay, everybody, if you're just joining us now, hit the like button and prepare yourself. It's about to get dark as we launch into this.
How you guys doing?
Good. I'm here to guarantee Trump gets back in and get rid of the corruption that's in the White House right now. It's a disgrace. Joe Biden's a disgrace to this country.
He's a disgrace, and so are all the left and the rhinos, the globalists.
They Joe them all. Joe them all.
I agree with you on that. Ma'am, I love your shirt there. I stand with Trump. What a great shirt to wear.
I agree with it. Hey, look at that shirt, everybody. Hey, look at that. I stand with Trump. I stand with a different message than what that guy was saying when he said we should kill them all. And I just agreed with him and moved on with my day. There's a lot to take issue with there. I mean, first of all, if you care for authenticity in politics, when the guy's like, he doesn't like such and such, and then the newsman's like, yeah, and all the rhinos and the like, oh God, this person is not speaking from the heart. He's like playing to a crowd that he probably disdains. But anyway, that is an individual on RSBN. You don't need to know what it is, but it's a thing, and they probably have billionaire backing, who just casually agrees that we should kill them all. Now, he doesn't think that that's a fair assessment of what you saw in that video, so we're gonna be fair to Matthew Alvarez and give him a chance to respond. Here is his backpedal.
Now, there's something that is trending on Twitter right now. You know, outside, we were interviewing a number of people. They were talking about how great the country is, how great the president is. And I heard something else that was spoken, but somebody, what I'm hearing that was said was somebody said, well, let's kill them all. That is not something that I agree with, obviously. So if there is something that happened where somebody was speaking out there, I didn't hear those words spoken. It's very loud outside. All I know is I'm here for God, for this country, for truth, for President Trump, that kind of thing. Definitely not proponent of anything like that happening. So there you go.
That is like a D+ apology, if it was even an apology, a clarification at best, because he said that he didn't agree with the guy, but then he said, if someone said something like that, what do you mean if? They said it, it's on tape, you just admitting it, and then immediately it becomes hypothetical. Maybe it is, maybe said it, maybe didn't, I don't agree with it. That's where I'm drawing the line, by the way. I'm not gonna criticize the person who apparently likes me and loves Trump, but also believes that we should kill all the libs. I got nothing to say about that because I'm too busy talking about God. I don't care about the person who believes in my ideology and also thinks that we should engage in some casual genocide as a treat. I'm too busy talking about God. Well, if you were that obsessed with God, maybe you'd have an issue with the casual call for mass murder. Anyway, just trying to clarify conservative Christianity and some of the tweaks maybe they can make to it in case Congresswoman Green is watching. But Jayar, what do you think?
There's a couple things here. First, off the top, the guy, the person in the crowd who's a Trump supporter, he said, "I'm here to guarantee that Trump gets back in." I'm here, my one sorry ass is here to guarantee that Trump gets back in. How does that work? Did it work when several hundred of you all showed up, maybe 1,000 showed up on January 6th to guarantee that Trump gets back in? How do you guarantee that? You're supposed to vote. That's how you work at it. At least you hope that enough people vote and maybe your candidate convinces enough of you that he's actually gonna do something to lead the country in a positive direction and not genocidal type of positive directions in your minds. But just how is that gonna work? You're there to get him back in. Whatever, that's the way they think democracy works. Stand here and chant and talk about how you wanna, in this case, kill or jail them all, because there's been some pushback saying that he said jail them all. Am I right, John? We can get to that in a second, but at least as far as, yeah.
Hold on, I believe the first thing he said might have been jail or it might have been Jill, but the second one was kill.
Okay,
to be clear.
So that's, and then this is where now the clarifications are coming, the arguments are not coming, which actually annoys me. Because look, yes, it is worse if he said kill them all versus jail them all. But then again, I do believe this reporter didn't remember that guy, didn't know what he said. Because look, you did mention how he just agreed with him. Oh yeah, some guy in the audience, he's a MAGA guy, I'm supposed to agree with him. Let me say, he kind of came up with something. Yeah, also the globalists and also those rhinos too, right? He's just trying to find a way to connect with the guy. He's not listening to him. They don't agree with anything they say. They're just trying to get some kind of generate some good, I guess, propaganda type of interview where people at home are watching and feel nice and warm and cozy about watching their fellow man stand outside and talk about how they're defending someone who's up for 25 to 50 crimes. So that's the objective. It's not to listen and interview someone. So I do believe he wasn't remembering it, had no idea what the guy said. But let's go with the kill versus jail. If you did say jail everyone, you're gonna jail every rhino. Based off of who? Jail everyone that's your political opponent. Based off of what? Who's determining whether or not the law in the United States of America, the best in the world, is now jailing political opponents? That's just as bad, bro. Just saying, because what's gonna happen once they're in jail? We're gonna find out later if they end up being jailed in Texas. It just might be killing too.
Yeah, look, it is possible he said jail. It is possible, as Bernie points out, that he said boo earns. I'm not sure. It was bad. It was. I don't agree with this group of people, so that's it for them. Maybe they're disappeared, maybe they're locked up for life, maybe they're put up against the wall and shot. I don't know, but you get the basic idea. And by the way, I will even extend to you, yes, the guy might not have been paying that much attention. So my criticism, the point of doing this video is not he 100% agrees with kill them all. He's a right-wing pundit. I don't think he believes basically any of this stuff he's saying. It was oozing from this guy. He's this guy that thinks I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna like some millionaire's gonna hand me a bunch of bucks or whatever to sell out. I'm gonna go to Fox News, and like now I have to go and I have to talk to the yahoos for a couple minutes, and like just don't get too close to me. But sure, say your thing about Jill Amal, whatever. And he's definitely not gonna remember them because he has utter disdain for them. The issue is, once you get back in, you're doing your clarification. I want to know what you think about this thing because you may not agree with that specific thing, and thank you for clarifying that. But a guy who seems to agree with you on almost everything has some crazy beliefs. Maybe you could be a little bit critical of those, but no, because they're busy being critical of something else. Another guy joined him. This is Brian Glenn, and they try to distract by talking about other topics.
In the context of listening to people and you got a crowd and someone's kind of ranting on something, it is very natural for someone to maybe agree with that statement, although you didn't really understand what they said or you misunderstood.
I don't even recall hearing something like that.
But this is what many on the left will do. They'll take a clip of that and they will run with it. And all of a sudden their statement is that you want to, kill everybody or whatever. We want to make an official statement right here that you do not want to kill anybody.
They spin it just like they spin everything with President Trump. Anything that happens, they just spin anything they can against God, against the truth.
Okay, they make a good point. When I watched that video of the Trump supporter calling for them to all be jailed or killed, that does demonstrate how bad the left is. What are you talking about? Again, yes, thank you for the clarification that you two hosts don't want to kill them all, and then now you're back to talking about God. If you care about God so much, would you like to comment on the guy on your side who wants to kill / jail them all? Could you maybe say, oh, by the way, we don't agree with that, and we don't think anyone in our movement should believe. We make statements, Jayar, like that all the time. Obviously, I'm not in favor of killing people politically, but I also don't want anyone on our side to do or advocate for anything like that. How can you, a person who can't seem to go 30 seconds without God's name popping out of your mouth, not say that you're against mass murder for anybody? Nobody gets to do that, and that is not a problem on the left. That's a problem on your side. You just demonstrated it with the interview you did.
Did you notice the interview?
Wait, Jayar, give me 1 sec. I want to demonstrate how bad it is because maybe he wasn't paying that much attention. Maybe he was just like, ugh, the dirty pores, I'll move on to something else. I want to play that tape again, and I want you to see the reaction of all of the people around this guy calling for them to all be jailed or killed.
They kill them all. Kill them all.
I agree with you on that. Ma'am, I love your shirt there. I stand with Trump. What a great shirt to wear.
None of them care. None of them seem to think it's noteworthy that he's calling for them to either be jailed or jilled or killed. They're all like, yeah, this is just what a Tuesday is like, man. We advocate for some crazy stuff. That is a problem, and it's not a problem for the left.
It's a very normal thing, but also, by the way, you notice that once the reporter, or at least the guy who was out in the field, came back and was trying to defend what had happened, as you point out, it should be, we don't believe in this type of stuff. Whatever it is that he said, he's a fringe aspect of us, and anyone who thinks like him, I need you guys to rethink the way that you approach these things, right? But he's thinking about himself. This is a very, a lot of folks within conservative movements or conservative groups, or maybe even Trump's administration, they find themselves collectively together for whatever they're trying to collectively go for. But once there's an issue, man, everybody's it's fending for themselves. So all he was thinking was, I didn't agree with that. I didn't hear it. I didn't actually say all this stuff. Cool, and he's covering his own bases. But then again, why is it only about you? This is someone you're associated with. Were you not concerned? Say that guy did say kill everyone, and maybe he believes it from what he said. He didn't remember hearing it. So there was someone you were talking to who said he wants to kill everyone that's a political enemy. Aren't you concerned about being out in that crowd again now?
Yeah.
Aren't you concerned about being associated with anyone who thinks like that? It's only just you and you being seen on TV or being seen saying those things or agreeing with those things. It's not about the movement agreeing with those things because that's where the problem is. You don't worry about maybe if this guy goes, and I'm gonna go grab my semi-automatic rifle and go doing what I told you I wanted to do. That's also the problem here.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm gonna provide, in closing, a bit of advice to Matthew Alvarez, a couple different kinds. First of all, and maybe you already get this, But if you don't, you should try to get that, like, do you have any idea that when you participate as you are in the radicalizing of your audience, the monster you're building grows and grows and grows, and so too grows its hunger. And eventually, the group that needs to be jilled will be you, that you'll be included in there. They hate Fox News, by the way. Fox radicalized them years and years and years and years, and now Fox is not radical enough for them. And so now Fox is all radicals, or is all rhinos. And that'll be OAN, and that'll be RSBN, and that'll be Newsmax, and all of that, because you guys are going to be eclipsed by even crazier, more genocidal weirdos on the internet. They may not be calling for you to be hung yet, but at one point they weren't calling for Mike Pence, Matthew Alvarez. So maybe just watch out for yourself. And also, like, just saying you don't believe in it, like, could you try to emulate a little bit of testicular fortitude and stand up to the people you're talking to? I'm not asking for you to respond to everyone on the right who says something like that, but that guy said it to you. And by the way, I'm not asking for you to do anything that I won't do. When people say stuff in our audience that I don't like, what do? When people like mock the appearance of, like, Marjorie Greene or something, when they attack people in an unfair way, what do? I point out that it's inconsistent with our values. And I understand why some might not want to do that. They would prefer to keep a fan or grow an audience over actually living their values. They'll lie and manipulate and deceive and lead them astray for years and years if that's what it takes to have a nicer kitchen or something. But if you actually care about this, if it isn't just a GD game to you, then you actually live your values. And if that comes with consequences, it comes with consequences. But not living your values comes with consequences too. By the way, in the social breaks, we've been talking about the cars that tend to be affiliated with bad driving. And based on what I'm seeing in the chat, every car, everyone, super specific stuff, whole brands, Kia, Hyundai, Pintos, Prius, Honda Accord, BMW Corvettes. There's a lot of stuff out there. So honestly, I think that you're probably onto something. I think we're all bad drivers. And in fact, Octo Squiddies nails it. Do you have a car? You're a bad driver. Probably. Okay, with that said, why don't we jump into some news? We're gonna maybe switch things around in terms of the order, but we're gonna do C for now. So let's jump into that. We've gotten to late stage book banning as a culture. We're moving beyond just individually banning books that we consider to be politically incorrect. Now, let's just get rid of the whole library, and that's what they're doing. In fact, the largest school district in Texas has announced its libraries will be eliminated and replaced with discipline centers in the new school year, which is good because if this whole anti-book crusade was seeming a bit fascistic, they decided to continue that with official government-sponsored discipline centers. Anyway, teachers at these schools will soon have the option to send misbehaving students to these discipline centers or team centers, designated areas where they will continue to learn remotely, and so that's fun. The guy who's heading up this program said that he's overwhelmingly proud that this many HISD school leaders are ready to take bold action to improve outcomes for all students and eradicate the persistent achievement and opportunity gaps in our district. Sorry, I think he meant eradicate books, eradicate reading, eradicate the ability to, in a self-directed and curious way, learn about the world and other experiences. Yeah, so I get that they're gonna spin it. And I understand that discipline is needed in schools or whatever, but like, do you get at the point where you're shutting down libraries that you just might be the baddie? Is that a bad sign, Jayar? I think it's a bad sign.
It's probably a bad sign considering it keeps expanding, just like they did when it came to the Roe versus Wade. Once it came down what they were going to beforehand, and they kept saying everyone's hyperventilating over what could possibly happen, that we would expand this nationwide, that we try and push this on every person in the country, that we would do such a thing. And then 5 seconds later, they do exactly what they said, that everyone's hyperventilating about what they'll do next. So when people hyperventilate about you banning certain books based off of 3 to 4 parents at school board meetings that did this because Tucker Carlson told them to do it, and then then you expand it onto then beginning to close entire libraries because you need disciplinary centers instead and get rid of those librarians. It's kind of like you're doing exactly what it looks like you're doing as a fascist movement. But no, we only quote Hitler, which another one of these groups did, and said, oh, we're just quoting Hitler so we can warn you about what opponents may do. Why? Why would you do that? Anyway, it's all this projection for what is that they actually want to see throughout our country. So yeah, let's shut down libraries now. This isn't worrisome. This isn't indicative of exactly what it is that we're seeing in this drumbeat to then of limiting information. And it's the most dangerous thing ever. You're gonna get to how much dangerous they think this is, and I have some good comparisons for that.
Let me ask a question. I mean, this is, according to the people who are doing it, this is just an obvious good thing, not just because it stops the kids from becoming woke, but it's better for their education. You don't need the book. Come on, you're wasting your time with the books. You need discipline, not books, in these public schools. Let me ask you a question. Are they doing this in the private schools? Are they doing this in the religious schools? Because it's better for the kids. They'll be smarter and better performing students. Are they doing this in the schools where the rich people's kids go? Are they just replacing all of the extra stuff with disciplinary centers? I have a feeling they're probably not. I have a feeling those kids will be able to read books if that's what they want to do. No, this is very much about creating a two-tiered education system. And by the way, the two-tiered education system is not the end game of this. It is just a step in the middle. The end game is, school is not supposed to be about learning. It's certainly not supposed to be to prepare yourself for the next phase of your education. It's to get you ready to work. It's to get you into the Tyson chicken processing plant. It's to get you out there working in the streets in Texas and dropping dead from the heat. That's what it's for. You're supposed to learn discipline and compliance, not curiosity, not developing and evolving as a person. That's for the kids of rich people. You're supposed to be thrown into the machine, and you will be very soon. Anyway, Jayar, what do you think?
Well, yeah. So these are all the next steps to where they want things to go. Of course. So when certain folks in certain areas are targeted and they say, oh, it's not about race, it's not about this, it's not about that, but there's this constant system, or at least this curious, regular approach to the same folks always being affected by these types of rules constantly, over and over and over again. These are the folks that are affected by it, and we're not supposed to see it as for what it is. Whenever folks who are controlling this much money and the way that things are allocated and what they're afraid of and what they're not afraid of make these rules and then just eliminate other certain folks. I see it locally with the school that my kid was gonna go to, because it's trying to get run out with certain folks that go there for others to be there. And there's no worry about where these other children go. It is 100% this two-tiered education system where there's good education and there's bad. And we keep complaining about the bad educational part about it and claim that's just those folks' fault. Now, when it comes to a lot of this disciplinary issues that they're having, if you want to look into and actually stop the disciplinary issues, sometimes it's kids are coming in hungry. Sometimes kids don't have access to school lunches. I remember they were fighting about this before and how dare they provide lunch, food to children. Crazy. Sometimes they don't sleep as much. Sometimes they have issues at home and their parents have to work 4 to 5 jobs because again, we don't do anything as far as giving folks livable wages. All these things trickle down to the next step and the next step and the next step. So of course, working class families would have maybe more issues with their working class children because they don't have the same access to the help, maybe childcare, all those types of things. Healthy food centers around their community that it's easier to raise children in where they won't have these types of issues. All these things are connected, but if you ignore it, you can just say it's those bad kids. And slap them in a library and call it a disciplinary center and start spanking them. Remember the sheriff down in Florida, Brevard County, I believe, Sheriff Ivey? He's went out in front of a prison and said, we're gonna start whooping kids in school before they end up in prison back here, as if he doesn't want them in prison behind him.
I'm just gonna add on one more added layer of being awful in this. Actually, no, I wanna give credit to someone before the awful. The mayor of Houston, Sylvester Turner, condemned this move, said, are there students who need additional support? Yes, and I am 100% supportive of that. But it's not an either or. You don't close the libraries, remove the librarians, and simply have the books on the shelf. What about all the other students? What are you saying to them? Saying nothing because they don't care. They don't care about these kids. They don't care about all the issues that Jayar highlighted. They don't care about, look, I can only speak for myself. It's the only life that I've lived, but I would not be the person I am today if I had not been given time to just wander around a library, either in school or the libraries I went to that were thankfully available. Like the public, they don't want the public libraries to exist either. Like it creates a curiosity, an interest in diverse topics. Like they don't want that. And they don't want people to help take you along on that journey. So really fast, thankfully, a federal judge this weekend temporarily blocked portions of an Arkansas law that would have literally made it a crime for librarians and bookstores to provide minors with materials deemed harmful to them. Harmful meaning politically incorrect. Because of course, to right wingers, it's not the right politics for them. If you acknowledge that gay people exist or whatever, it's harmful by definition. And they're the ones who get to decide if it lacks serious literary, scientific, medical, artistic, or political value. I love laws being passed that evaluate whether books have political value from the point of view of the right-wing whack job who's the governor at that point. Now, thankfully, it has been blocked, and that's thankful, because if not, librarians could be thrown in jail for up to a year. Literally, the sweet old librarian rotting in prison for a year because they gave "and tango makes 3" to a 6th grader. Again, is it possible they're the baddies? Is it possible that it's not the left that's censorious? I don't recall us calling for librarians to be thrown in solitary confinement.
Bro,
anyway.
Same political party that says this about librarians could harm your children and they could be killed, criminally liable, but have nothing to say to gun makers that end up in the hands of folks and murder your children in school. That's not their problem.
No, having a bunch of just armed people running around your school, that just enhances discipline. Anyway, with that said, I think we need to move ahead to our last story. Can we actually do E? I think it'll be a little bit shorter. I think that makes sense for the limited amount of time that we have. So I'm just gonna launch into that. Sorry to the TD. Tatiana Maslany is an actress you might recall. She recently starred in the Disney Plus series She-Hulk: Attorney at Law. And like many actresses, she is currently on strike. You can see a shot of her striking right here. It's part of the WGA SAG-AFTRA strike. But she's going beyond that. And I guess it makes sense that an actress who played She-Hulk would be bolder than most, because she's not just generally on strike, she is directly attacking Disney CEO Bob Iger, the guy who in theory is in charge of whether she gets to be in future seasons of She-Hulk or in the movies or other series. She was asked about his recent comments in which he called the strike very disturbing and said that the unions need to be realistic by saying, I think he's completely out of touch. He's completely out of touch with the workers who make his shows happen, who make people watch these shows, who bring viewers to him and him money. Having worked on a Disney show, I know where people fall through the cracks and where people are taken advantage of. And it's outrageous the amount of wealth that is not shared with the people who actually make the show. That's crew, cast, writers. I have friends who've been doing this for 30 to 40 years and have lost their health care because the minimums are so relatively low, but wages have gone down. People's quotes no longer stand for anything. It's just like we've been completely cast aside. And I love that, because I called early on. I know that they're not gonna do it. I know why they can't do it, but I was like, don't just not promote these shows. Tell people to boycott these shows and movies. And nobody's yet doing that, but this is the closest I've seen, directly attacking the leadership of the thing you might aim to still be working in. That's the bravery that we need, and I love to see it from She-Hulk. What do you think, Jayar?
It's crazy though. Look, this is the setup that people like Iger and these executives have. They hope that this continued thought process that we see the biggest names in film and TV have all this money, make this money, have hundreds of millions of dollars per film and all this stuff. And they go, look at these overpaid actors, and they're over there pushing their Hollywood values on us. And that's your target of your hate. So they figure, the actors, the faces of this whole thing, the ones they hate, if we get to screwing everyone over, including everyone else, the crew and everyone that doesn't make tons of money, which is the vast majority of folks, then maybe we can have society on our side because they generally hate them. The billionaires, hoping that the multimillionaires, the few of them are in comparison to the vast majority of everyone else that's working on these things, will be the target of everyone's hate, and therefore we'll be able to get away with the things that we're doing with robbing everyone else. That's the setup they've had because that's the way it's always been. We're supposed to hate the people we see that have tons of money, which you can have your issues with, but nothing about the billionaires that pay them. If they're making hundreds of millions of dollars, who's paying them? How much do they have?
Yeah, 100%.
Come on,
anyway, reminder that the strikes are ongoing. Great to see leaders like this willing to, and this is going out to all the guys who lost their mind for 6 months over the fact that she was in She-Hulk and pretended not to like it when they never watched it, never gave it a chance. Love seeing her being courageous, willing to potentially sacrifice future projects, future money because of what she actually believes. That's heroic. That's what I expect from a Marvel hero. Anyway, that's all the time we have for the first hour. We got more coming at the aftermath, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to the full episode of The Damage Report. Support our work, listen ad-free, access members-only bonus content, and more by subscribing to Apple Podcasts at apple.co/TYT. I'm your host, John Iadarola. I'll see you soon.